You may not know this, but if you're on Medicare, the cost of your diabetes testing supplies may be covered, whether you use insulin or not. Liberty makes it easy to bill Medicare and your insurance company, so you have no paperwork. You pay nothing up front. Your supplies are delivered right to your door, no charge for shipping. So check your blood sugar as often as you should. And call Liberty. They can help you live a better life.
For more information, call Liberty Medical at 1-800-804-6636. That's 1-800-804-6636. Call today.
I'd love to buy you dinner.
Nice try. I know about the free rebate.
Okay.
The Swanson Dinner Rebate lets you try delicious fried chicken, mashed potatoes, and sweet corn for free.
So 8-ish.
No-ish.
Hi, how you doing?
Stay tuned to the Weather Channel for continuing coverage on Isabel, right after your local on the 8s.
Currently, the temperature is 71 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Forecast. Your extended forecast.
Live from the Weather Channel, here's First Outlook.
Overnight, Washington, D.C. was bombarded by a tropical storm's heavy rain. Plus, wind and surge forced the closure of Reagan National Airport.
I'm Bill Keneally out here on the beaches. Yes, it's still very windy. A critical difference, though, the sun's about to break out. Major problems inland in Baltimore. We'll talk about that right after this.
Airport closures, thousands of flights canceled, debris in the roadway and flooded roads. We'll look at the travel picture for a Friday coming up.
And it's going to be a day of hard work along the Carolina coast to reclaim property ripped apart by the former hurricane. Tropical storm Isabel still has a punch that could flood a large area. Get the latest on how your weekend and travel plans could be affected as that storm moves on. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to First Outlook. It's Friday, September 19th. I'm Kim Perez.
And I'm Nick Walker. Thanks for joining us this morning. It's 6:30 in Trenton, 5:30 in Kansas City.
And in the Midwest, we're watching a front moving through, and we're going to see some big temperature changes.
It's the difference you're already feeling out there this morning. But not much difference yet, as Isabel's still affecting the Northeast with windy and rainy conditions. You could see 15 to 25 mile-an-hour winds still throughout Pittsburgh, New York, and Boston with gusts of 40. Still a wind advisory for New York City, a tropical storm warning, an inland tropical storm warning still for Philadelphia.
And all kinds of travel problems yesterday, today, probably just as bad. A lot of backlog from yesterday, Dennis.
In fact, even at Philadelphia, flights won't commence until 7:30. The airport at Washington Reagan still closed, and at BWI Baltimore still closed until further notice, until they can inspect all the runways and all the airport facilities to make sure everything's okay. Expect flights not only to be canceled but delayed in some areas like Pittsburgh, Buffalo, and Boston during the course of the day. And if you have travel plans in the Northeast Corridor, I-35 will find the rain and the wind this morning that will continue into the afternoon, lifting slowly northward. We'll have the full travel picture in about 6 minutes. Right now, Nick has an update.
Wind and rain lashed Washington, D.C. from what was hurricane, now tropical storm Isabel. More than 800,000 people in the greater Washington, D.C. area are still without power. MARTA has yet to reopen. Federal government offices are closed for a second day. So the problems go on. As a matter of fact, overall throughout the Northeast, you have about 3 million people without power. The center of tropical storm Isabel is 80 miles south of Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Winds in the center, 50 miles an hour, moving toward the north-northwest at about 21 miles an hour now. And we're still seeing tropical storm warnings up from portions of Long Island down toward the Delmarva Peninsula into Chesapeake Bay. Washington, D.C. still under a tropical storm warning at this hour. One of the places that withstood Isabel's fury was Ocean City, Maryland, and that's where our Bill Keneally is this morning. He withstood the storm as well. And Bill, what are we waking up to there this morning?
I tell you what, Nick, we're waking up to a collective sigh of relief actually out here. Yeah, it's still windy, still that wind ripping up out of the south today as opposed to northeast, but it's still very gusty in that 40 to 45 mile per hour range. We're getting some sketchy information about more flooding this morning, primarily in the bay. We have a crew out there. We'll have details on that as soon as it becomes available. But the day is dawning brightly. It will be a sunny weekend out here in Ocean City. Inland, major issues, though, getting out and about. Dennis talked about BWI being shut down, but also the Key Bridge is shut. That's the 695 bridge on the Baltimore Beltway. That is still closed. Also, with standing water on the approach to the 895 tunnel, that is the Baltimore Harbor Tunnel. That is still closed as well. Widespread power out in Baltimore, still very gusty winds, and there's actually still some flooding, Nick, in the inner harbor area, and still with a late morning, midday high tide, looking at more surge heading up those rivers as that south wind continues to pump that high water up into the rivers, tributaries, and the upper Chesapeake. So it's getting better out here on the beaches, but watch out farther inland.
All right, thank you very much. Bill Keneally reporting from Ocean City, Maryland. We appreciate the great coverage that our crews have provided the last couple of days. We're still going to find rainy, windy conditions, though, well into the northeastern inland, both at Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, as well as New York and even on up into Boston today. You could see wind gusts 15 to 25 miles an hour. Actually, wind gusts probably upwards to 40 miles an hour and more. Due to the area of high pressure to the north, the area of low pressure that's very deep here, which is the tropical storm, setting up a significant pressure gradient. Still gusty winds up to 30, 35, up to 40 miles an hour still possible. We've seen some of those winds around the Washington, D.C. area overnight, up to 58 miles an hour. Richmond, Virginia saw a 72 mile an hour wind gust here just in the last 24 hours. Significant rainfall as well, particularly in Virginia, but also up into West Virginia, into Ohio, and into western Pennsylvania, could provide you with more flooding rains in this area. River flooding still a possibility, as well as some street flooding. So we'll look for an inch at least, maybe 2 to 4 inches more likely in some of these areas from Ohio on into western New York and western Pennsylvania. Still under flood warnings, the flood warnings all the way up into central New York. As the cold front from the Midwest moves eastward, the area of low pressure, that tropical storm becomes extratropical tomorrow. We will see a lot more sunshine from Buffalo to New York, Philadelphia, and still a few showers, though, in the morning around Boston. Now let's head southward with Kim.
The water filled the streets of Kitty Hawk, North Carolina after Isabel came ashore. More than 6 inches of rain fell in some parts of the state. President Bush has declared stricken counties disaster areas, so they'll qualify for federal relief. Now, over 650,000 people without power here in North Carolina. We're looking at some much better weather today, already improving. Our winds are starting to decrease. We're not seeing 25 to 30 mile per hour winds anymore. Some areas maybe 20 to 25, and that will continue to decrease as the day goes on. And we'll be looking at sunshine here in the Carolinas, temperatures in the 80s. Good news for folks to get out and clean up and do the assessment here. 79 in Memphis, Tulsa 71, a cold front coming through, and that's going to bring us some nice cool weather in Dallas too, 76 degrees. And here's the front through Dallas already. A little bit of rain here in South Texas. Oh, it's a lot of rain. We're expecting some flooding problems. We have flood watches that are in effect here, including including around Brownsville. So again, turn around, don't drown if you come across a flooded roadway. The forecast for Saturday, boy, this looks good. 76 in Tulsa, 78 in Memphis. What a nice September day. Miami, if you're going to be at the beaches, we could be looking at a thunderstorm in the afternoon. Nick?
Still some problems at the airports, though, as a result of Isabel.
Thousands of flights canceled yesterday. Airports closed. The travel outlook for getting on that flight and
over with seasonal allergies.